Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth, welcoming in the studio the lovely and vivacious Miss Karen Franklin from the World Youth Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning. It's such a blessing to be here. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you are so very welcome. So let's talk about the World Youth Foundation. What is the World Youth Foundation, actually?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. The World Youth Foundation is an incubator program. It is a program that builds and cultivates you, Samantha, Jerry. We build the next leaders of tomorrow. So we build a child mind, body, and character. And very specifically, we ensure that we teach them how to win in life against all odds through evidence-based learning. You know, far too often, we focus on telling the child the importance of going to school, mining, doing their chores. Yet how often do we bring the world to them and help them evolve and transform with what God's natural gifts have been given to them? We meet them where they're at. You know, as our mission is to teach all youth how to win in life against all odds, how can we tell Samantha and how can we tell Chris that A plus B equals C?
Right.
When they're two different people. Right. We listen to where they're at. We listen to where their needs are and equally where their fears are. And we help them to gain their feet. We ensure that they learn and have a definitive voice. And then they get up and they run. And they start thirsting to win. And it's amazing. When someone is thirsting to win, you can't stop them. With all the barriers of life that come to all families, when a child is excited because they know they can, against all odds, you'll be amazed what they accomplish, what they can accomplish. Case in point, we just finished up our Seeds of Gratitude Appreciation Brunch on this past on yesterday, right? At the Wortham. The emphasis of that was to bring our scholars together under the national program, groundbreaking program of Service Works under Points of Life, a part of the AmeriCorps family, Citibank, and others. And those students, 16 to 24, underrepresented students, not happy with themselves, don't like life, don't want to be bothered. You've seen students as such. So we come to them to let them know the me and me. Let them to learn who they are, understand who they are, and strive to peel back that onion, the skin, that thickness that society just keeps packing on so that they can start becoming that caterpillar. And then they can become that butterfly. And yes, they do actually soar. And the fear of walking into geometry and that fear of speaking in public and that fear of teaming and accomplishing these core disciplines in STEM that far too often our students, our underrepresented students, shy away from. Because one, how many like them that they see that comes up to them in their community. So we help eliminate so many of those stereotypes and ensure we bring the world to our kids. That's who World Youth Foundation is.
You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Karen Franklin from World Youth Foundation. What a great description. I mean, you all, you shape these kids.
Indeed we do. And we help them to transform. How many of our kids talk about incubating? How many of our kids talk about what issues and bills that the legislator just finished up and equally now are in special session?
I don't know any. I don't even know any adults that ask that.
How many are following those issues and knowing the value and applying the emphasis of civic engagement, let alone public policy, and knowing about writing a bill? And what a bill looks like and how our government is shaped and defined, unrelated to the importance and the value and the strength of our Constitution.
That is something. When you all talk about giving the youth their voice,
yes,
I'm sure they have a lot to say, especially, with everything that is going on nowadays from the internet to social media to Donald Trump.
Yes, all that, yes.
Yeah. So giving the youth their voice, how do you all do that? And what is it that concerns them today?
That's an important question. And, a few months ago, you may recall some of our college students took their lives.
Yeah.
For various reasons, and that's not something new that has been happening. Sadly, it's been going on. Yet, the kids and their concerns are about being accepted. Being accepted.
Wow.
We're excited, and they should be excited about each new journey, no matter what grade they're in. And their emphasis is about being accepted. So if a child's main concern is about being accepted, being liked, being popular, that's already an equation for disaster, and sadly failing, and many of them have taken their life because of
that. Oh my goodness,
it's chilling.
It is, because it just likes on social media is the new money, I guess, is the new thing that makes me feel validated. I have this many followers, so I'm this. I have, this many likes on this post, so I'm this. And then, and when they don't have enough followers or they don't have enough likes, then they get all depressed, and then, God forbid, end up as to what you were talking about.
Yeah, so as we're given the opportunity to allow that child to know who they are, the me and me, we let them know that they are valued by them seeing it themselves, and then by having them apply their voice and accomplishing what typically they aren't given the opportunity to, just for something very simple, by making up their bed. Letting them know in making up their bed is part of project managing. Our kids aren't talked about timelines, obligation, roadblocks, risk factors. How to ensure that their end project is how they designed it, and what their parents expect, and how they can establish their schedule with everything that's in front of them, from studying to extracurriculum to sports and church and others, to ensure that they best map out their course of life, and they control that. But we don't often talk to our kids in that way. And I'm not saying there aren't families that do that, because, of course, there are. Yet, if we lose one child, that's one child too many.
Yes.
So World Youth Foundation stands boldly, and we don't stand alone. We stand with the city of Houston. We stand with public and private, our corporate partners, our amazing philanthropic givers, the amazing professional volunteers, organizations that come and stand side by side with us, with the school districts. And we're grateful that we, as volunteers for 26 years, are high in demand, not because we're experts, it's because we care.
You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Karen Franklin from World Youth Foundation. So the school year is about to start up.
Oh, yes, it is.
And so there's a new program for this year that starts on September 8th. So tell us about that, and how parents or, the individual student themselves can be a part of World Youth Foundation.
And thank you for asking that question. So our flagship program is Youth Innovative Incubator Program. We call it YIP, right?
Yeah.
So that's where, again, the kids get their voice. They design, they do technology, they create the world by their own hands. And how families can get involved: they can go online, register at our website. Everything we do is free. The YIP program is every second Saturday, and those kids evolve. For our parents who tell us, "What did you do with my child? Where is my child who didn't care about their bed or their chores?" And now they're understanding that they need to be at this workshop so that they can gain their points, that they can be a part of shining throughout the community and being engaged, and ensuring not that they win, that they ensure they bring somebody else along, and teach what they have learned.
Indeed. Out of curiosity, is there for students who are part of the foundation, World Youth Foundation, any sort of I don't want to say incentives or just something that helps the ones that are in high school, like the 16, 17, and maybe probably 18-year-olds, to help them further along, maybe be it applying for college or getting a Pell Grant or this scholarship, or that any services that are offered. I'm sure a parent is probably listening like, well, hey, what can we do academically?
And that's very important. So a couple things. One, yes, their engagement, they definitely do get community service hours.
Okay.
At the same time, they also are eligible for being a part of our program. They gain various opportunities for scholarships. We offer 4 different scholarships, and another one is on the way, and those are defined within our website. Equally, with our students in that age range, the 16 to 24, yet we serve students from 6 to 24. They do take a cadre of enrichment programs. They're in Austin. On September the 19th, the students in YIP, they'll be departing and traveling to the annual Congressional Black Caucus. It's our legislative conference in Washington, D.C., whether they're visiting with their president, their legislative leaders, whether they be on the House and or Senate, and dialoguing with corporate executives.
Nice.
Very nice. Interesting enough, this is our 20th year in collaboration with the Congressional Black Caucus that many of our students work up on the Hill.
Nice.
Whether you're talking about incentives, whether they be served in the White House or congressional pages or working on the Senate side, or one of our students is still working for the Department of Transportation in Maryland from our program, who came from Clayton Homes.
How about that?
Talking about incentives.
Yeah.
Allowing them to go places where they've never been. You know, we are very innovative. We are very aggressive, and we're extremely bold. This will be our 5th year if we're awarded. We have about 110 kids on the green for the Texans at one of their preseason games if we are selected once again, as we have been for the past 4 years. And not being selected because we're World Youth Foundation, by no means, yet being selected based on the community projects our students are doing, whether it is having fundraisers for diapers, or doing social services and providing food, perishable food for those that are in need. And the list goes on. But our kids know and are taught about how to give and why to give and what that means.
It sounds like an incredible organization of what you all are doing with
you.
these young adults. For the parents and the students who may be listening and they want more information, where can they go to get more info on World Youth Foundation?
Yes, well, a couple places. Of course, they can go on our website, which is worldyouthfoundation.org. You'll be amazed at all the things that you will see. And we're very big in art, because that is one way and a critical way in touching our youth.
Absolutely.
In addition, of course, you can reach us on social media, whether it be Facebook, which is World Youth Foundation, as well as Instagram. And I don't know I don't think we have the Twitter feed yet, but our student board, which our students are part of leading this organization, they too are they're managing our social media.
Okay, so log on to worldyouthfoundation.org for more information. The new program for the year begins September 8th, so just log on to the website and get all of the information. This is just so amazing. This is so great and needed. Our kids need things like this.
Of course. And in closing, that child has to have what we were given. We're not doing anything different. It is really just getting back to the basics. Whether the child is engaged with etiquette on how to present themselves, or the importance of financial literacy, establishing your account, knowing your budget, and how to manage that. Walking every day with your food diary, knowing your numbers and assessing, do I want this or do I want this, and how it's going to impact my numbers, whether it be positively or negatively. And I'm talking about health and wellness. Our kids not only have lost weight, their parents have saved money because of habits have changed.
Yeah.
Because one, they're learning.
Yeah.
They're not just being taught, saying no, don't, but they're being saying, well, Mom, I've noticed on my food diary, we've gone to XYZ fast food twice this week. We're going to side pass that. Let's cook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have some zucchini, we have some eggplant. You know, let's cook, and we equally let's bake some cupcakes. You know, and invest more back into ourselves, and they get really excited on what that looks like because they're creating and they're charting their path.
Oh, yeah. I think all the parents listening, you would want your child to be a part of World of Youth Foundation, just based off of that story that Mrs. Franklin has shared with us alone. That's amazing. That's good stuff.
We think so.
Yeah.
And thank you.
You are so very welcome. Thank you for your time and coming through. Karen Franklin from the World Youth Foundation. For all of the information, just log on to the website, worldyouthfoundation.org. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me, and equally for what you do, because you definitely help our students and young adults gain their voice.
Oh.
So salute and thank you.
Oh, and thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Oh, it is an honor. It is truly an honor to have a man of service in the studio with me this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sergeant First Class Adam Cataldi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. And more importantly, thank you for your service.
I appreciate that very much.
So how long have you been in the Army?
Yesterday, nope. On the 19th, I actually just celebrated my 15th anniversary as a soldier in the United States Army.
15 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
I'm quite sure. How did you get into the Army?
It was a rough ride for me, actually. My father was in the military, and I was a rebellious young teen, as most 17 and 18 year olds are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the one thing I wasn't going to do was follow in his footsteps. So I was actually supposed to go to college for the baritone in the band. And my eldest brother is actually at Lackland Air Force Base right now, and he is a E8 in the Air Force. And he was always a mentor of mine. And he came home from leave, and he was like, and then what, Adam? And he had asked me questions that none of my college counselors had talked to me about. I didn't listen to my father at that point. And he asked me, what happens after you graduate from college? And I literally had no plan. So I went and talked to the Air Force recruiter, and that wasn't for me. It's not saying it's not for everybody. I talked to the Navy recruiter, and that wasn't for me. And then I talked to the Army recruiter, and that young man said that I could be an M1A1 Abrams main battle tank maintainer, and my 18-year-old eyes lit up, and I haven't looked back since.
Nice.
That's the story of how I joined the Army.
Yeah, and can you talk about how just the basic life skills, like I think that the military teaches an individual so much when it comes to discipline, when it comes to organization, when it comes to communication skills, there's so many traits that come along with that. Can you just speak on the importance of all of the things that one learns when in the military?
I can. We don't have enough time to talk about everything that you're going to get out of the military in terms of just basic skills. But we actually do have 7 Army values. And this is going to sound like a pitch for the Army, but they are. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. You will pick all of those things up. And a thing that the generation now doesn't get communicated to them when making life decisions about, and then what, is that life does not often go high school, college, millionaire.
Right.
Employers are looking for certain things, and there's 4 particular things. This is out in a study. It's on YouTube right now. It's called Success in a New Economy. And it talks about the 4 things that employers are looking for nowadays. Education, absolutely. The United States Army will pay for all of the college you could possibly want in your entire life if you have the motivation. Number 2 is experience. College gives you an experience, but taking a test does not give you an experience of actually performing the job.
Huh.
The number 3 thing they want is technical certifications. The technical certifications that you'll pick up, you're talking hazmat, air traffic controller, C++, C++ for computers, security clearances that aren't offered to the general public. And the 4th thing that is an intangible object are called gray skills. An employer invests an enormous amount of money in every person that they hire. They want to know that that person is going to show up on time, that that person is honest, that that person has loyalty, little sense of duty, some integrity, some personal courage, those 7 Army values that we talked about. They want to make sure that you're not going to do drugs. They want to make sure that you understand workplace environment, the sexual harassment policies, equal employment, equal opportunity. These things are real, and you're not going to gain those from reading in a book. You can only gain these from working in a field and gaining that valuable experience where someone can speak on your behalf to an employer.
You listen to Access Houston. We're talking to Sergeant First Class Adam Cataldi. Cataldi, excuse me, sir.
It's okay.
Moving so fast.
It's fine.
About the U.S. Army. I haven't seen, I don't know if it's me or if it because I live in this entertainment bubble. But I haven't seen a lot of recruitment for the Army, Navy, the Marines, even the reserves. Has it gone down in terms of outreach, or am I not looking in the right place for it? Because it seemed like it used to be everywhere.
No, it's because our new uniforms, this camouflage really works.
That's
That's really what it is. But equal access is a thing, okay? So there's laws in place. It used to be called the No Child Left Behind Act.
Yeah.
So a lot of people aren't actually familiar with this, but the new legislation in place that supersedes that is called Every Student Succeeds Act.
Okay.
And what that is supposed to do is it's supposed to allow us equal access to high schools, because almost all forms of recruiting gravitate around the high school, because it is the population and the age in which the military looks for. These young men and women are up to date on technology. They usually don't have a criminal record. They're not obese, which actually disqualifies 39% of Americans right now. That is a true number.
I can believe it.
They don't have credit issues. They can get security clearances. So underneath the Every Student Succeeds Act, it says that we're supposed to be afforded the same opportunities to speak to the children as the college campuses are. They absolutely stick to the letter of the law. But in my opinion, and this is an opinion,
Sure,
is that college is more spoken about in today's society than it ever was 15 years ago with me. It was an odd thing for a high school senior where I grew up to go immediately from high school to a 4-year university. Most of the time it was your top 10% of your class, maybe 5% of your class, and you went on to community college, then you went on to the 4-year university.
Yeah.
And now if you walk into a high school, for the most part, and you ask these young men and women who's going to college after you graduate, every hand is going to go up. Every one of those hands is going to go up. And because college is spoken about so more, only 19% of the service, only 19% of the population has someone in service now, compared to 13 years ago when the war started, where it was, don't quote me, but I believe it was around 39 to 45% actually had somebody in in a uniform that served at that point. And that number is going down because it's a college for all mentality right now. And I would never say that there's anything wrong with college.
Sure.
But when it comes to making informed decisions, I don't believe that the military is looked upon as a viable option now. So when you say that you don't see recruitment efforts, I promise you we're out there. We have commercials, we have billboards, we have social media campaigns. We still make those phone calls. We still post things. We still walk the streets. We still show up to events. We do all of these things just the generation that you and I came from is a lot different than the generation of today.
Yeah.
We're not going to blow up your phones anymore.
Right.
It doesn't work.
To say the least. Oh man, that I guess I didn't think about it like that. That the push for straight to college has been the campaign for like the last 10 years or so.
Yes, sir, it has. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I have a bachelor's degree.
Sure.
I intend on going to law school after I retire.
Yeah.
5 years, maybe more, depends on what the Army wants me to do for them. I push all of my soldiers to go to college. There's a big campaign going on called the Army University that's coming out, where all of the education's systems inside the United States military have been evaluated by the American Council of Education. And we actually have something called JS Trans, which stands for Joint Service Transcripts. So in basic training, you will get 15 college credits.
Right.
At an actual university, when you turn in your transcripts from the Army, basic training will give you 15 college credits for PE, absolutely, for health class. And they are electives because that is just basic combat training.
So off top, you already get
15 college credits.
Wow. Okay.
Depending on what your school is and what you pick, like mine was very long. A tank it's a beast. And I was in school for a very long time. By the time I was done with my training and I turned in my first transcripts, the only thing I needed was my general studies, and I got a general studies degree. All I needed was my maths, my Englishes, my sociology, and my humanities, and I was done with my first associates. But the Army right now is trying to make it so that by the time, if you make it to my rank, just the schooling that it takes to get up to here, you will leave the United States Army with a bachelor's degree that is accredited just like every other college in the United States of America.
So you out there listening, especially you young ones, looking for that other way out. I think that the Army is the way. Especially that is so smart. I'm just thinking about that makes more sense. If I was 18, that would be the route that I would want to go. Well,
I can't say that. I'm biased right now. That's the route that I went. I didn't intend to do 15 years. I didn't intend to do 20 years, but I was a 3 and out kind of guy. And it just turned into an incredible journey that I would not trade for anything in this whole wide world. Nothing.
That's awesome. Where can people just get more information on recruitment, on everything that the Army has to offer, and just listening to your cool stories? And they're like, hey, I want to do this.
Wow. Where can you get more information? Okay, so the first thing you can do is go like me on Facebook.
Hey.
Deer Park Army Recruiting Center out of Pasadena, Texas. The second thing that you can do is go to www.goarmy.com. There, it's going to have useful tools and it's going to have informations available to you, but just the overall number of benefits in the Army are far too much for you to navigate on your own. I would recommend sitting down and making an appointment with an Army recruiter, a Marine recruiter, a Navy recruiter, an Air Force recruiter, and talk to them, because the best thing in life is options. The moment you run out of options, there it is. That's your path. Understand that they're going to lay out what they can offer you, and understand that they're going to ask you if you would like to join that branch. And also understand that you can look that man in the eye and say, no, sir, thank you, but I don't think this is the path for me. Call your local recruiting center and set up an appointment as your best option you could ever have.
Nice. And there you have it. Sergeant First Class Adam Cataldi. Thank you so much for coming through, man, and sharing this information.
I really appreciate you having me, sir.
And thank you for listening to Access Houston.